Sadly, I have tragic news to report, folks. 6 U.S. service members can now be confirmed killed in the Iran war, CENTCOM has announced. As of 4 p.m. Eastern Time, March 2nd, CENTCOM states 6 U.S. service members in total have been killed in action. U.S. forces recently recovered the remains of 2 previously unaccounted for service members from a facility that was struck during Iran's initial attacks in the region. Major combat operations continue. The identities of the fallen are being withheld until 24 hours after next of kin notification. Folks, this war is getting deadlier. This war is engulfing the entire region. And now we learn that Donald Trump is panicking, as he has learned, and we are now all learning, that the Strait of Hormuz is now closed as well. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps is announcing that it is shutting down the Strait of Hormuz, and any ship that passes will be destroyed, will be blown up, and will be shot at. And we're already hearing that ships in the Strait of Hormuz are being shot at. And now we're seeing a massive spike in the cost and in the price of crude. In the past hour, it is going up massively. Over the past week, it has increased as well. And this means that your gas prices will be going up. More significantly, though, it's the fact that our troops are now in harm's way for potentially a never-ending war. We believe, and others are reporting on the ground, that the amount of American soldiers who have been seriously wounded is actually far greater than what's currently being reported by the Defense Department. We believe the number of seriously injured to be far greater. In fact, Jeremy Scahill over at Dropsite News said that over the past 24 hours, they've heard the same thing. They've been reaching out to CENTCOM and our military and the Department of Defense, who are refusing to respond. Donald Trump is also telling members of the media that he's surprised right now. And he's saying that the biggest surprise in the war thus far has been Iran's attacks on Arab countries. Iran has spent literally months warning about these attacks in public and in private, which was the whole reason Arab countries wanted to avoid the war in the first place. And this is what Donald Trump is saying. He's surprised that Iran has attacked Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, United Arab Emirates, and Iran is continuing to attack its neighbors, specifically where the U.S. has its bases and where there's a U.S. military presence. For example, when Iran struck a residential complex, it turned out that we had soldiers at that residential complex who were indeed injured as a result of that strike by Iran. And just war is engulfing all of the Middle East right now. It's unclear if any of the other Arab nations are going to get involved in this war. I mean, we saw that they have their defensive surface-to-air missiles, of course, that we've seen. But, for example, the UAE is projected to exhaust its interceptor missile stock within 1 week at the current rate of fire. Qatar within 4 days. Both are urgently seeking additional military support from the United States. And ultimately, it's the taxpayers who are going to have to pay for it. And the strikes are not stopping. I mean, as I'm recording this, explosions and interceptions have been reported over Doha, the capital of Qatar, as Iran continues to launch ballistic missile strikes against these Gulf nations. In Jordan, out of abundance of caution, all personnel at the U.S. Embassy in Jordan have temporarily departed the embassy compound in Amman due to the threat. The State Department is now reporting. Now, Donald Trump held a deranged press conference earlier in the Oval Office where he wanted to talk about the ballroom, and he looked and he saw young people in the audience, and he goes, I want to talk about the young ones. You have really good genes. You have really good genes. I'll show you that in just a moment, because as America's at war, Donald Trump is making deranged posts about Lady Gaga's dad voting for him. He's making posts free Tina Peters, like weird election conspiracy posts. As Aaron Rupar said, if you just watch Donald Trump's social media posts, you would have no clue that we're actually at war right now. But when Donald Trump did this press conference earlier today, you know how he has that discoloration on both of his hands, his right hand and his left hand look completely discolored. But now we're seeing that on his neck. Trump had this significant rash-like injury on his neck today, in addition to his two disfigured hands. I mean, just take a look at what it looks like. There are some people who are wondering if this could be precancerous or what the hell is going on. The statement issued by Donald Trump's doctor moments ago is Trump is using a very common cream on the right side of his neck, which is a preventative skin treatment prescribed by the White House doctor. The president is using the treatment for 1 week, and the redness is expected to last for a few weeks. I'm not sure how it can be preventative when he has the actual rash. Also, if you take a look at how his neck looked at Texas, you can actually see that there were signs of this rash on his neck. So he's deteriorating before our eyes, physically, mentally. And I think what his doctor is saying, in my view, is just more lies. Also, it should be noted, an exclusive by Daniel Edward Rosen right here, hat tip to them at The Sun. Many of the FBI agents who have recently been fired by Donald Trump and Kash Patel, they were fired last week. They worked on CI-12, Counterintelligence 12. That's the Washington Field Office, the WFO squad that investigates espionage threats from countries that include Iran. Former FBI officials are telling the New York Sun the firings took place, as Daniel Edward Rosen writes, just days before the launch of Operation Epic Fury, and separately a mass shooting in Austin. In 2020, this group monitored Iranian retaliation threats on U.S. soil after the 2020 drone strike that killed the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps Major General Soleimani, as Trump ordered. And now we've totally gotten rid of this group or some of the key leadership there. So Americans are looking for reassurance right now. What are we doing? A never-ending regime change war. American troops are being killed. Are we getting closer to World War III? Are we in World War III already? The former president of Russia is saying we are in World War III. This is the statement from Dmitry Medvedev, Russia's former president. This is what he says about Trump. Has the Third World War already begun, or is the world still not entering it? Are we balancing? Formally, no. But if Trump continues his insane course of criminal regime change, it will undoubtedly begin, and any event could trigger it. Any event. This is a war by the U.S. and its allies to maintain global dominance. The pigs don't want to give it up. Trump made a grave mistake. With his decision, he put all Americans under potential attack, even though the Iranian regime is not well liked in neighboring Arab countries. The main thing is that the late Ayatollah was the spiritual father of nearly 300 million Shiites, and now he's also a martyr. You can fill in the rest yourself, and now there's no doubt that Iran will redouble its efforts to develop nuclear weapons. I mean, when you have a former president of Russia, granted he's deranged and unhinged a lot, talking about World War III, these are serious issues. And in the meantime, you have China and Iran jointly condemning Donald Trump and his regime. So China is really starting to enter this picture in a very big way. At the same time, as I reported earlier this morning, the United States is refusing to make good on the deal with Taiwan to give Taiwan the $12 to $13 billion in military aid and weapons that were previously promised to Taiwan and allocated by our Congress, which Trump is not giving to Taiwan because Donald Trump does not want to be disinvited to China in April, where he's supposed to do a state visit to meet Xi Jinping, the leader of China. So while Donald Trump is now refusing to provide the weapons promised to Taiwan and the billions in aid promised to Taiwan, betraying them and breaching a deal with them, Chinese Minister of Foreign Affairs Wang Yi held a call moments ago with Iranian Foreign Minister Saeed Abbas Araghchi today, according to the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson. In the release, the Chinese ministry said Iran has the right to defend itself with all its might, and China formally condemning the United States and Israeli strikes as a violation of international law. A formal statement from China condemning the U.S. and showing its support of Iran right now. So as I mentioned, serious times call for serious measures, serious diplomacy, serious people. Well, moments ago, Donald Trump sent Melania to preside over the United Nations Security Council. Here's what took place as Melania addressed the Security Council. Let's play this clip.
With the Rule 39 of the Council's Provisional Rules of Procedure, I invite Ms. Rosemary DiCarlo, Undersecretary General of Political and Peacebuilding Affairs, to participate in this meeting.
Now, after Melania addressed the Security Council, or right around that time, Donald Trump gave a speech or a presser that was completely deranged, unhinged at the Oval Office. He said that he's proud to have knocked out the Iran nuclear deal by Barack Obama. And as we said on the MeidasTouch account, that's why we are here. And he still harbors this bizarre personal hatred for Obama and this jealousy. And he admits the real reason why America is at war right now. Here, play this clip.
I was very proud to have knocked out the Iran nuclear deal by President Barack Hussein Obama. That was a horrible, horrible, dangerous document. They would have had nuclear weapons 3 years ago, and they would have used them.
Then Donald Trump talks to the audience about the young ones he sees, and he says, look, the young ones, you've got good genes. You'll figure it out when it's older. You've got good genes. This is what he's saying as America is at war. How unhinged in this? Play this clip.
Country free. And I just said the genetics in that family are very strong, right? I said that before. All three families, I said, good. I see some of the young ones today. And I said, you have good genes. They were asking me, what does that mean? I said, don't worry about it. You'll figure it out. But you have the best genes you can have, actually.
Then he talks more about the ballroom, and he goes, we're going to build a ballroom, and it's going to be really big. And anyway, here, play this clip.
A lot of great service members here with us, too, in this beautiful building. Isn't it beautiful? We're adding on to the building a little bit. We're improving the building. See that nice drape? When that comes down right now, you see a very, very deep hole. But in about a year and a half from now, you're going to see a very, very beautiful building. And there's your entrance to it right there. In fact, it looks so nice, I think I'll save money on the doors, because it can't get more beautiful than that. I picked those drapes in my first term. I always like gold, but I think we can save a lot of money. I just saved curtains.
Then Donald Trump claims that we had a deal with Iran, and then that they broke the deal, and that's why we had to strike. When in fact, the hand-picked mediator by the United States, the foreign minister of Oman, who the United States picked to mediate the dispute with Iran, on Friday said that there was a deal in principle, that Iran agreed to the United States terms. There were technical issues with the International Atomic Energy Agency that needed to be sorted out on Monday, today, but that there was basically a deal in principle. So our own hand-picked mediator, who was trying to negotiate a deal with Iran, went on TV and said there was a deal. And then the United States struck after we knew that there was a deal, and we were just waiting on Monday to iron out some technical details. But here's what Donald Trump says, because he lies about everything. Here, play this clip.
And we thought we had a deal, but then they backed out. And they came back, and we thought we had a deal, and they backed out. I said, you can't deal with these people. You got to do it the right way.
More from Donald Trump talking about the ballroom. Let's play it.
Because we're donating it, not a penny to the taxpayer. It'll be under budget, ahead of schedule. It'll be $400 million or less. Most people say $400 million or more. No, it'll be less. But when I hear that sound, that beautiful sound behind me, it means money. So I like it. But my wife isn't thrilled. She said, this is getting crazy. I said, don't worry about it. We'll be all finished up in a few months.
He then opines on bravery. Play it.
You know, bravery's amazing. You never really know who's brave, who's not, until they're really tested. We think some people are brave, Pete, and they're not. We think others aren't, and they are. You never know. But he was tested. That's called the ultimate test, right?
And then he says that the best way to grieve for our soldiers who have died in this war right now is to do more war. I'll show you this clip right here.
Today, we grieve for the 4 heroic American service members who have been killed in action, and send our love and support to their families. In their memory, we continue this mission with ferocious, unyielding resolve to crush the threat this terrorist regime poses to the American people. And a threat indeed it is.
And he says we're ahead of our projections. Let's play this clip.
Imposes to the American people, and a threat indeed it is. We have the strongest and most powerful by far military in the world, and we will easily prevail. We're already substantially ahead of our time projections, but whatever the time is, it's okay. Whatever it takes, we will always, and we have right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that. We'll do it. Whatever somebody said today, they said, oh, well, if the president wants to do it really quickly. After that, he'll get bored. I don't get bored. There's nothing boring about this. Do you agree with that, Pete? I don't think there's anything, Mr. General. I think there's nothing boring about it. Somebody actually said from the media, I think he'll get bored after about a week or two. No, we don't get bored. I never get bored. If I got bored, I wouldn't be standing here right now. I guarantee you that, to go through what I had to go through.
And so we're ahead of our projections. Oh, and then he also says, following our obliteration of Iran's nuclear program, we warn them not to rebuild. Okay, if they totally obliterate it, didn't you say they were done, that they couldn't rebuild for decades? Makes no sense what you're saying. Here, play this clip.
Following our obliteration of Iran's nuclear program in Operation Midnight Hammer a short while ago, we warned Iran not to make any attempt to rebuild at a different location because they were unable to use the ones that we so powerfully blew up. But they ignored those warnings and refused to cease their pursuit of nuclear weapons. In addition, the regime's conventional ballistic missile program was growing rapidly and dramatically, and this posed a very clear, colossal threat to America and our forces stationed overseas. The regime already had missiles capable of hitting Europe and our bases, both local and overseas, and would soon have had missiles capable of reaching our beautiful America.
Folks, even Realtor.com is opining right now on how disastrous this war is going to be to mortgages. Here's what Realtor.com posted. The U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran are pushing mortgage rates higher as oil prices surge and inflation fears dominate bond markets. Although Iran produces only 3% of global oil, about 20% of crude shipments pass through the nearby Strait of Hormuz, raising concerns about supply disruptions and higher costs. Higher oil prices typically lead to inflation fears, which send bond yields and mortgage rates upward. Mortgage rates hit a 3-year low last week, but could reverse course if the conflict persists. And we are indeed learning about Iran drones striking oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz. Here, play this clip as it was announced that there was indeed a strike. This is from Sky News. Here, play this clip.
We've just got some breaking news that's just come into us from the Reuters news agency. They say Iran's Revolutionary Guard said a fuel tanker was burning in the Strait of Hormuz after being hit by 2 drones. They had told Iran's news agencies that had reported this today. The Strait is the world's most vital oil export route, connecting the biggest Gulf oil producers such as Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, and the United Arab Emirates. So that news just coming in that Iran's Revolutionary Guard say a fuel tanker was burning in the Strait of Hormuz after being hit by 2 drones.
And finally, Melania delivers her closing message. What are we even doing here, folks? To the UN Security Council while we're at war with Iran. Melania Trump is in the United Nations Security Council right now. And you see behind her the ambassador to the United States, Mike Walls, who was involved in Signalgate, who put our classified information on Signal chats. Then you see Donald Trump's other top aide behind him, the spokesperson for the State Department. Watch this. Let's play it.
We are in the age of imagination, a period where technology can be free and unrestricted by land borders. Indeed, now is the time for our generation to elevate our children above ideology through access to wisdom.
There you have it, folks. Let me know what you all think. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. That's the comprehensive update of everything that's happened thus far.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.